Welcome back to the Mike Peluso Outdoors here on urlradio.net. The more hits we play, the more hits we get. We're talking a little bit about the falls here in North Dakota on the first half of the program, and I made the comment that there's such a thing called the North Dakota hat trick, and you know, being that I was a former hockey player, that one was always kind of made me smile a little bit. When I was finally back in the fall of 2004, was actually my last year that I had played hockey. I retired after the NHL had locked out that season and came back to the great state of North Dakota, and I was super excited because, you know, it was a chance for me to kind of relive my childhood, basically, because I had missed, mostly 13 years of being around North Dakota in the fall, and I got very fortunate that year. The fall was just phenomenal. The pheasant hunting was excellent that year. The geese and ducks were excellent that year. I did a little deer hunting that fall as well, and certainly spent a great deal of time on the water, and it was just a remarkable fall that year too. So, you know, looking at it, when we talk about the North Dakota hat trick, and we're going to have the chance and the opportunity here to do this again in the very near future once all the seasons start to open up. But what I used to call that, and there's different variations of it. You know, certainly it's not just the species that I'll be talking about, but there's different mixes and matches to this. But if you can go out in the state of North Dakota in the fall when all the seasons are open, you can catch your limit of walleyes, shoot your limit of pheasants, and also shoot your limit of waterfowl. That's considered the North Dakota hat trick, and I've mixed and matched that before myself. I've shot a deer before in the fall, caught my walleyes, and scraped up a few pheasants. To do the true hat trick is pretty difficult at times. You got to have a lot of good timing. You got to time it just right and put yourself in the right areas at the right time to capitalize. But to be able to do that is pretty incredible when you really think about it. You know, a lot of people would kind of giggle when they hear that, but you know, folks from Minnesota or Wisconsin or, you know, any of these other great states that have great hunting and fishing, it'd be very difficult to do that. You know, and again, we can kind of almost pick and choose, you know, any time that we go out in the outdoors here in North Dakota in the fall to do that, and that's just incredible. So, you know, my plan will be definitely to pick a day or two here in the fall, and you know, most likely we'll get up early and try and shoot a limit of ducks or geese, and after that, maybe as we're stumbling around to come back in, you know, maybe walk a few spots to shoot a pheasant or two, and maybe get lucky and get your limit of pheasants on the way to going to pick up the boat. Or a lot of times I will bring the boat right along with me. You know, we'll kind of do a big combo trip and you know, put the boat in the water and get a good evening bite in. And again, it's just incredible. And then for the folks that what I really enjoy is when I'm guiding in the fall, you know, I'll get a lot of clients that'll come in and they'll pheasant hunt during the morning, and then they'll come back and wanna fish in the afternoon. And I don't guide upland game or hunting. I'm only a fishing outfitter, but you know, they'll go either on their own or with another outfit to go track down some birds and fish and enjoy the morning and grab a little lunch, and then meet me at a boat ramp somewhere, you know, on the Missouri River, and spend a few hours chasing after some walleyes. And boy, they just, you know, every one of them folks that I get in my boat when we're doing this, they just cannot believe that they're able to take advantage of that when they come out here in the fall. And I wish more people would, because it's such a great time of year to get out here and see everything. And like I said, it's so cool to watch everything kind of start changing. You know, right now we're right in the changing of the grass color, and the leaves are just starting to turn here a little bit. Some are coming down, but for the most part, things are pretty green yet here in North Dakota, especially with all the moisture that we've had this year. It's been kind of crazy, to be honest with you. But you know, things happen fast, and once these upland game birds are, you know, available as far as their season's opening here, you know, later in the month, that really kind of triggers the fall, and that's when it gets pretty exciting around here. And it's, you know, it's interesting too, because that's about the time when the walleyes start making their move back up north into the river system, and we're able to start catching walleyes again closer to town. You know, that's always the thing. And since 2011, and for those of you that don't know what I mean by 2011, that was the year of the major flood that we had here in Bismarck, North Dakota. And since that time, the spring and fall migrations of these walleyes it's just not the same as it was when I was growing up as a kid. I mean, you could set your watch to it when I was younger. As far as the spring the spring run, we would always start in that sometime in April and really come on strong all the way through into May. Those fish would really cruise up the river, and when I mean cruise up the river, they were getting into the way north stretches of the Missouri River, well past Wilton, where you're still catching those South Dakota footballs. And back in those days, there was a distinct difference in these fish. You could catch a fish on the river, take one look at it, and you knew if it was a South Dakota fish or a North Dakota fish. The South Dakota fish back in the day had the tiny little heads and the huge fat bellies, and they had a little bit different coloration to them, and it's just pretty cool to see. And we used to see those fish clear up, all the way up into Stanton and north. And boy, I'll tell you now, it's almost like there's a roadblock down there somewhere around that Eckroth Corner, Hazelton area, and I think a lot of it has to do with how the river changed during the flood, and we're finding that to affect the fall migration as well. We just don't see the numbers of fish coming up into town and beyond like we used to, and it's a little frustrating. You got to travel a little further, and it really congregates the boats and stuff at times, but it is what it is. And it's just amazing how that flood has changed everything. But again, once those fish do start migrating, they get a little bit closer here to Bismarck, and it makes it a lot easier to get out there and chase after the North Dakota hat trick. And I hope that a lot of you folks that are listening to the program right now or catch us on archives on fishingbuddy.com, I hope that you can do the same things that I get to do, and that's get out and enjoy our North Dakota outdoors. It just doesn't get much better than this, and we're so very fortunate and blessed here to be able to have this opportunity to go out and do this, and make sure you're taking advantage of the public land that's offered with the plots and all that stuff, and don't be afraid to shake hands with a farmer from time to time and see if you can't go out on some of their stuff. And for the most part, with my experiences, if you ask, you usually get let on. But I'm kind of one of those guys. I don't like to bother people, and I never take advantage of that. And I really wish I would, because I've got a golden retriever that she's getting up there in age. She's about 11 years old now, and she loves to hunt pheasants. She's slowing down a little bit, but I'd sure like to get her out on a couple good walks here yet before she's got to retire the hunting vest. So. Again, don't be afraid to ask. I am, unfortunately. I just don't do it very often, but, don't be afraid. And certainly with waterfall, I'm pretty sure 98% of the hunters, unless they've got people in there, are going to let you go out and take advantage of that as well. So that's been this week's program on the Mike Peluso Outdoors here. Again, we're talking a little bit about the fall changeover here from the fishing, hunting, and all that good stuff. And, there's a lot more stuff to do, not just hunt and fish. Great time to take nature walks and hikes and, head out to the Badlands, and you're going to see some pure beauty out there, and just so many opportunities right now this time of year. And again, I said it in the first half of the program, that's why we like to call it Rocktober. It's just a remarkable time of year here in the great state of North Dakota, and I hope that each and every one of you get an opportunity to get out there and enjoy it in some way, shape, or form. And again, if you have any questions or want to hear some stuff here on the program here at the Mike Peluso Outdoors, and I've got a few messages which I love, please shoot them over to me either on my Facebook page at Mike Peluso, or head to my email at mwalleye1343@aol.com, and let's chit chat and see what we can figure out, and maybe get a show topic or two, or if you know somebody on an interesting level that we think that we should get involved in this program, please let me know that as well. And don't be afraid to take the time to thank our sponsors here in the Mike Peluso Outdoors. It's them that make this possible and let us do what we like to do, and that's talk about the great outdoors here in the upper Midwest and North Dakota. So until next time, this has been the Mike Peluso Outdoors here on urlradio.net. Take care and tight lines.